Oh, that's right. We're here with episode 38, the great 38. Uh, and I've got the Maccabees pulled up live. I'm using that as kind of this white light, kind of masquerading down my cheek. It's going well over here. Chewie, how are you doing in the corner?
Yeah, things are going good right now. Actually, as we speak, I'm just looking through some of the cards this week that I'll show off. We got another. Everything's going to be pretty much Mantha cards that I show, but
Oh,
Anthony
hell
Mantha,
yeah.
his Canadian card, so it's his Team Canada jersey patch right there. So right there's a little patch of the jersey,
Mm,
um, and I got this one actually pretty sweet. It's like sealed by Upper Deck, so the card company,
yeah.
and it's like a clear cut. So they call it clear cut. You can see like the cards see through.
Damn, that's
So
so sick.
so clear cut future auto watch or future watch auto. It's kind of like the main card people hunt for players. And then I'll show three more here. It's kind of cool. So everything pretty much you guys see, it's like Mantha from Detroit. I got my first three Mantha Washington Capital cards.
Oh,
So I'm starting to collect his Capital stuff, even though I'm still a bigger Detroit fan.
i-
But
is that
I
the
just
most
started.
is that the most recent team he's on?
That's the team he's currently on. Yeah.
Currently on.
So yeah, Detroit traded him over there. So
Mm-hmm.
I gonna start collecting just some of the cheaper stuff. But yeah, that's what I got on the docket today for cards. And other than that, life's going pretty okay. Preparing goals, life preparing for expansion, um, and working out who will be on the roster next season and who we may have to lose on the roster next season.
Mm.
But how's everything going up with you, Potty?
Yeah, it's going well. The girlfriend, person I live with, she's out of town for a business for the next like 2 days, so it's just me and Kato. So I'm gonna just showcase little baby Kato. I don't know if he's ever been on the show.
Oh,
Do,
nice.
do you have any little puppy dogs like this? This is little baby
I
Kato.
No, my dog is with my parents, but I have two cats, and they're somewhere right now. I have no idea where. But
Oh,
one
okay.
day I'll show them the two of them on.
So, but I've been eating good, because normally it's like cooking healthy meals and all that. So I've had hot dogs, had Chipotle for lunch, and for a drink, I got a large, extra large Coke, free Slurpee from 7-Eleven.
Oh,
Probably my favorite beverage, and
nice.
you know other things like that. So it's been good in the penthouse these last few days, kind of living it up.
Sweet.
Yeah. So talking about the things that evolve, let's talk about transactions.
Yeah. So you're showing deadline
The
is
the
passed.
Yeah, no. So I've got right up here. We are currently at 456
Oh yeah.
active players. Tell us about that, Chewy. That's a pretty big accomplishment, and you've been along for the journey.
Yeah. So we're still hovering around that. I think we're actually yeah we're at 456. So that means we're at 24 full NHL or goals roster teams, so 24 teams of 19 players. Um, so our minor leagues filled up, but we keep getting a couple like people missing progressions and leaving the server and people joining. So we're hovering right around there, which is awesome to see. And especially with the draft coming up and the four-team expansion, we're going to see 76 minor players get called up next season, at least 76, and we'll have 380 pro players next season. So that's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah.
Um, but on to the transactions right around trade deadline. If we give a little scroll down, we did have a couple people leave the server. Unfortunately, George Costanza, Agner Blade, and Double Lift all left the server, and Max Jones ended up missing his fourth progression in a row. So Honolulu had to force drop him, and that's too bad. But not too bad for future considerations as he gets called up from Berlin to Honolulu, and Berlin sign Robert Mikelkanelovich. Let's go with
Mm.
that. And Malmo signed McLean Hoover. So big shout out to future considerations for the call up for the rest of the season to help Honolulu in their fight for the playoffs.
Yeah, and future considerations. That was his first draft, right? Got called up right away.
Yep. Yeah. I think he was drafted this past season. So
Yeah, shout out there. All right, and we've also got here, Chewie. What are we going down in the conferences?
yeah, so a little bit different this week because as of today, after the Redwater and Albuquerque doubleheader, Las Vegas and Alaska become the first two teams to clinch a playoff spot. Yep. They become the first two teams to clinch a playoff spot. Albuquerque's still in the fight. After today, they're at 40 or 50 points, I think, as they lost in shootout. San Diego sitting at 43. Redwater is in the fight still. They're at 44 points with 2 games at hand. And the big one to watch here is Honolulu. I think they're on a 6-game win streak. I can't remember if they won yesterday. On Monday, as I quickly fact check this, they did win. So they're on a 6 or 7 game win streak right now. They're back in the playoff race, which is super awesome to see. Bobby Brownstone had a tough season with some people missing progressions, but he made the most of it. So keep an eye on Honolulu. They could be fighting with Redwater and San Diego this week for a playoff spot. And while we're on the Rocket side of the standings, I'm going to talk about a couple games to watch. This being the doubleheader week, so each team plays one of their division rivals twice. So while we're looking at this side, Honolulu and San Diego on Thursday, they have a doubleheader. If Honolulu can win both those games and San Diego lose both those games, Honolulu will be within about 4 points of a playoff spot with 2 weeks left. So they could very well put themselves in the race with those 2 wins there. So that would be huge for them. As I mentioned today, Albuquerque and Redwater. Redwater's fighting for their playoff lives right now as well. They picked up 3 points, which is big for them. And Albuquerque made a push up, but they've got a long way to go. We're going to take a look over at the Mr. Hockey side now. So Miami, they took the win over Copenhagen on Monday in their conference rival match. So Miami at 53 points, Copenhagen at 51, Florence 46, and then the race between Florence, Jacksonville, and Turku. Turku 2 points out of the playoff spot. Jacksonville holding on right now with another, up and coming team, Norfolk. They're also within the math there, 7 points.
Oh.
So it's actually kind of funny if you look at the conferences side by side. Albuquerque at 47, Florence at 46, San Diego at 43, Jacksonville at 43, Redwater at 41, Turku at 41, and Honolulu at 36, and Norfolk at 36. So it's almost like a mirror right now of
Oh,
conferences.
wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's super interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, this is probably like the most exciting end of season that GOHLS has seen with the amount of teams fighting. In previous seasons, by this time, it was like, we kind of know who's going to make it. So congrats to everyone fighting for playoffs. Unfortunately, I think Boston is officially eliminated from playoffs, and I believe North Bay is pretty much eliminated as well, as they can only get 36 points. Sorry, 46 points. No, so they're still in it, but I think by the end of the week, they'll be officially eliminated. So that's the pro standings there.
All right. Do you want to see the divisions, or you think you kind of covered it with?
I thought it was.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Getting a little sore there. So
I feel you. Yeah, it was great. All right, so in the minors, we've got Tokyo in first by a 2-point margin. Coming up in second is Sydney. The Whales are performing really well as well as Tokyo, of course. And then third, we've got Warsaw, 1 point behind, and then it's a 6 point drop down to Berlin, 1 point in between that to Iceland, and then we've got another 1 point difference with Malmo, followed by a 3 point difference to Wellington, and a 9 point difference to Beijing. So there's a bit of a gap at the end, but we can say with high degree of probability the top 2 to 3 teams, at least 2 out of 3 of them, are likely to make the playoffs. And then the third and the fourth team is either going to be one of those top 3 teams, or it's going to be, a different conglomerate of anyone from the 4 to 7 range of their ranking. That's be my best guess. All right, so moving on over, keeping you updated on these graphics that you, of course, can always pause. Maybe we should just post these on Twitter. But we have the only, wanted to catch up. Albuquerque did go from the fourth ranked team to the first ranked team, so compliments there. No change in Miami and 2-2, and then Copenhagen didn't go down from 1-2, and we don't have the last week's results at the PP or PK level. But honestly, it doesn't really matter to be in the top 3. Other than that, I didn't really see a lot of different changes. A couple 2s or 3 placement movement, but that was kind of my perception on there. When it comes to face-offs, very, very similar. Only major difference was San Diego dropped from a 9 to a 12. So going from, roughly bottom middle to bottom. Over from there, we've got our league leaders, and I know Chewie's going to want to say a thing about our assists and points leaders, but before we get to that, we have our goals leader with Chester Chess. I know that Chess has at least scored at least one other goal. That's the one I saw tonight, but we haven't updated the stats. These are off of, today. But let's talk about the assist and point leader, David Leathers. He has 34 assists and 51 points. Chewie, what does that mean for the league?
Yeah. So I took a look at the previous standings and we tweeted it out from the Copenhagen Twitter account. But big shout out to Leathers as he is currently 1 assist and 2 points away from breaking the I think Geralt Winkler's record from last season for total assists and total points. Uh, but as you can see, Geralt Winkler, Telemax Scarborough, and Catherine Kamenev are all right behind him.
Hmm.
So he may break it, but there's 3 other players right behind him that could set a new record this season. Same with points. Falco, he's been having a great season, and then a couple Maccabee players and Kamenev as well on the points side of it. And then the only other record was the points per game record, which was set by actually Amelia Rose in season 1, which is 1.05 points per game. I think at 53 points, David Leathers will break that record as well.
Wow. What crazy times to be in, and records are getting broken. I don't know about the records on this side of the house, but when it comes to the rookies, the names you want to look out for, when it comes to goals, Stig Magnus, Andrew Payne, Daniel Akers, 6 goals apiece. We'll come back to a couple of those in our upcoming deep dives on Albuquerque and Tennessee. And our assist leader remains Jerry Jackson with 13, and points leader is Jerry Jackson with 14. So Jerry Jackson has 13 assists and 1 goal. And with that, we'll shift on over to our deep dive on Albuquerque.
Yeah, so we got Albuquerque, who this season has been having a pretty good season so far. I believe they're division leaders of the Central currently. And looking at the roster, one of the strong points this season for them is their defense, having 390 overall plus defense, 180 overall plus defense, and 170 overall plus defense in Virginia Emmett. This is big for them as they have one of the youngest goalies currently in the pros, Tony Puckstopper, who's sitting at an 81 overall. The overall seems low, but he's been having himself a pretty good couple seasons. He's made quite a number of awesome saves that I've seen, and comparing that he's like 25 overall, less than a lot, or sorry, 15 overall,
Mm.
less than a lot of the other high-end goalies. He's holding his own this season. Up top, they got obviously Catherine Kamenev, who's having a great season. We saw him in the top 10 leaders, and another big name for them that I believe signed in free agency from Florence, Chester Chess. He played on Dublin for I think half a season. Awesome to have him, and awesome to see he's been putting together a great couple seasons. Last season he won MVP. This season he's going for the Ovi Award. And a couple big rookies as well. Stig Magnus, Tanner Pitts. They were just called up. They're having themselves pretty decent seasons. Looking at them for the expansion, they only have 6 pending free agents. They're going to have to expose some players under contract. They are, I believe, hitting close to the cap as well. Currently, they would be under, but things could change. So they're probably going to have to lose a couple of at least 1 or 2 big defense and probably one of their forwards. So we'll see what route they take, and then see as they have a couple affiliates down in the minors who definitely deserve a call up next season.
Mm. There it is. Well, let's turn the perspective to the numbers of which we can kind of talk about things objectively. So let's talk about number one. We usually start off with hits. Albuquerque is not known for hits. Not a single player on their roster has broken 100 hits this season. If we look at them as a team, Albuquerque ranks 14th in hits with only 487. Now, back to the roster or stats of it, offense is where Albuquerque shines. And its brightest lights on the ice come from Catherine Kamenev and Chester Chess. Kamenev leads the team in points with 43, including 13 goals and 30 assists. Kamenev is 4th in assists, 5th in points, and 4th in points per 60 across the entire league this season. Following closely behind is Chester Chess with 14 points this season. That's 27 goals and 14 assists. Chess is 1st in goals, 6th in points, 7th in points per 60, and get this, 1st in power play goals amongst league leaders. But let's not forget the rookies. Stig Magnus, former Warsaw Warlock and Atlantic Buck, has put up an impressive 12 points this season with 6 goals and 6 assists. Magnus sits tied for 1st amongst goals and 3rd in points amongst rookie leaders. Now we turn our attention to the faceoffs. Albuquerque is a bit middle of the pack. They have a 50.7% face-off rating. That's 8th in the league. And when we look at them from special teams, they're pretty ferocious. Up there, ranked number 2 with a 5th ranked power play and a 1st ranked penalty kill. So very interesting. And let's now turn our attention to our next team, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. So we got actually the one team that has 3 owners in the league with Dave Axis, CGQ, and Biff Markham. So they all own 33% of the team. Kind of cool to see. In terms of the roster wise, they're sorry, my throat's like they've got 5 pending FAs this season, which is pretty good. They're going to hopefully keep most of their roster, and right now sitting under the cap. Ideal for Tennessee is they come back next season with the same roster minus a couple players from expansion, and then a couple big call-ups as they have a couple great players from the Iceland Ice. A couple big names to look at: Gunny, Fab Freddy, and their defense, Biff Markham. All 3 top of their positions, really. Gunny coming over from Alaska. Fab Freddy, I believe, has been with them the whole time. Maybe he was on Redwater. I can't remember. I'm sorry. And Biff Markham, he was actually drafted by the previous team we talked about, Albuquerque, and there was a large trade that sent him over to Tennessee, which was, I believe, St. Louis at the time. But yeah, great squad overall. I mean, overall, they're probably one of the most balanced teams with 490 overalls on defense, and then 270 overalls plus. So they'll be looking to hopefully get those guys a little more progressed by next season. Charlie O'Doherty as well. He was one of the drafted goalies, I think, in season 3 or 4. So he was one of the youngest goalies when he was drafted, and over the seasons, he's really, built his progressions and built his player up to become one of the best. And then on forward, a lot of these guys have been with them since the beginning. I think there's a lot of SFL ties with a lot of these players, and yeah, I mean, if you want to look at a squad that's built on like just relationships between each other, you're looking at it right here with Tennessee.
And like Biff Markham in '97, that's like an OG, right?
Yeah, he was here in season 2, so he's not even OG.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he's built a pretty great player for himself.
Wow, fantastic. All right, so let's turn our attention to the statistics. So Tennessee is another team not known for hits. Nobody on the roster has really cracked the century mark. They sit 12th in hits with 505, so a little bit higher than Albuquerque. When it comes back to the stats, it's about who's leading the team, who's demonstrating performance that is being objectively measured in categories of statistical significance. So at the top is points with Gunny, 35 this season. That's 19 goals, 16 assists. Gunny is first in shots on goal and tied for second in power play goals with 6 this season. Now, I've got an interesting stat for you. This is from Fox Highwind. Fox has put up 11 goals this season. In 3 of them, that's a little over 25%. So 1 out of 4 have been shorthanded. That's first in shorthanded goals across the league with 3. But I think that's really interesting that a quarter of the goals that Fox has made have been shorthanded. So, shout out there. All right. From a rookie perspective, we said we'd get back to him. Daniel Akers put up 13 points this season, including 6 goals and 7 assists. Akers is tied for first in goals and second in points amongst rookie league leaders. And if we turn our attention to faceoffs, we can see that Tennessee drops a little bit lower than Albuquerque. Tennessee being ranked 13th with a 48.2% faceoff rating. And when it comes to special teams, we have Tennessee in 11th place. They've got a 6th ranked power play, but unfortunately a 16th ranked penalty kill. So that's the worst in the league penalty kill. Either way, that is our deep dive on Albuquerque and Tennessee, and we're now going to turn it over to our plays of the week.
Puck is dropped and he wins the draw here in the defensive zone. Scooped up along the wall by Lemieux. Puck scooped up by Price.
Well, that's the end of his shift. Man, James, he took a huge hit.
He might have a step here. He's in the clear. He scores! Wow! A little dipsy doodle and he loses possession of the puck. A little dipsy doodle and he loses possession of the puck. Scores! And look at that! The goal! And there's a little help from your friends right there from off the wing coming up with the puck. Score! There from off the wing coming up with the puck. Score! Just 20 seconds of to play. We're all tied up here. Moves the puck. Into the offensive end, right up the middle. Hangs onto the puck. Hangs onto the puck. Makes the save.
In the season, the goalie has to be good if you're going to collect some of them.
She scored! Wow!
Does this feel good, James? When you sell that move and the goalie buys it, you almost can't believe.
All right, Chewie, those were some sick plays of the week, didn't you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to turn us over to our interview with Sailor Mars. All right, and we're here with Micro, aka Sailor Mars. Micro, how's it going today?
It's going pretty good. I burnt my thumb earlier, but other than that, I'm good.
You were doing it for a valiant effort. You were cooking for your brother, isn't that right?
Yeah, my brother. I had chicken tenders today, but my brother wanted pizza. I didn't want pizza. I've had pizza too many times lately, so I cooked the tenders first, then cooked the pizza.
Yeah, no, I feel you, but at least you're giving people a thumbs up, so that's good. And talking about a thumbs up, you've been in goals this season under the player Sailor Mars. Tell me, how have you seen your experience going so far?
Well, her best performance was I forgot the exact opponent, but it was Berlin was away at someone. She had 2 goals, including the game winner. Um, it went off like it. It was a pass to one guy, then to another guy, then to Mars into a goal.
Hmm. Hey, that's good. I looked up your stats. I think you've got 4 goals and 4 assists this season, right?
I guess I can say that in terms of Discord strictly leads, this is probably like one of the best I've been in overall. In terms of the community, in terms of everyone that's here.
Do you feel that
Uh,
goals lets you be the type of person you want to be and like be you feel it's pretty inclusive, like you feel accepted
it's
here?
pretty well. I'm pretty sure it's pretty inclusive. I haven't. I'm not the best. I'm not really. I'm trying to figure out the words. I'm not. I don't know if I have much experience to tell you what kind of inclusiveness I would want, but they're cool with how I present my player and everything. So, and I like how they allow the female players to be in there. One of the few good things EA have done.
Mm-hmm. What do you think are some things EA could improve on?
Well, I haven't really played much NHL 23, but my favorite kind of sports career modes are always the ones that like there should be like a separate story and career mode. Like a story mode can focus on a player, a career mode can focus on a player you create. I don't know. I just don't like career modes that try to force story in the middle of it.
Mm. So
I'm
it's
not sure if any EA NHL does that, but I know NBA 2K did.
second one, and I'm kind of curious, like where do you see simulated sports kind of going in the future?
Well, it's hard to really say, but I think like COVID was the big thing for a lot of simulation leagues. COVID, like as bad as it was for everybody, it was a big boost for simulation leagues. COVID brought a lot of attention to it. The challenge that might be coming up for simulation leagues is keeping that attention. But from what I've seen from some leagues are doing really good at keeping that attention. Um, if they can keep up recruiting, I can see them getting bigger in these next few years. And we just gotta see what happens.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. If you're going to expand, you have to have a certain system in place to be able to maintain that experience for the players, or maybe there's not enough streamers, there's not enough, technological infrastructure to enable, certain things to provide a good experience. But, I'm curious, like, looking at your experience in goals and looking ahead, where do you see goals in, 5 years from now?
I think Go is going to be kind of like that. Right now, it seems like it's being the premier Discord-based hockey sim league. I think with the people that's involved in the community, I think he can keep that crown for a while.
Hmm. So thanks so much for hopping on, and I hope you have an awesome day, and I hope your thumb feels a little bit better.
Me too. All right. Thank you.
All right. And we're back from our interview with Sailor Mars. Chewie, thanks for hopping on. That was a great show. Appreciate the opportunity to do with you. And until the next time.